How is it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. For those of you that are new here, my name is Ethan Bridge. I'm host of the Social Media Marketing School podcast and the guy behind the Instagram page at The Marketing Ethan. This is episode 100 of the Social Media Marketing School podcast. This is something that I started in my bedroom in lockdown 1. It's something that I just decided to start alongside my personal brand on Instagram. Little did I know that I would be doing this 100 episodes later. I committed to recording 3 episodes a week every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I've stuck to it. I've kept it up. I'm still going. The podcast is increasing its viewership on a weekly basis, and it's one of the most fulfilling pieces of content I create. I love it. And I thought, what better thing to talk about in episode 100 than the ability and tactics for staying consistent on social media, whatever piece of content you may be producing, because I've been able to stay consistent with this podcast for 100 episodes, producing 3 episodes a week. And with my Instagram account, I've posted every single day without missing a day since I created that account. And I'm not someone that used to be really good at staying consistent. I never really thought that I'd be able to keep something up every single day, but now everything I do is just habit, and I love every second of it. So I thought, what better thing to talk about than how to stay consistent, tips for staying consistent. So without any further ado, let's just dive straight into the first point. Point number 1, and this one's huge. You need to be doing something you actually love. If you don't love what you do, then you're never ever going to be able to stay consistent with it. When it comes to content creation, you need to be having that enthusiasm behind what you're actually creating, because that's going to shine through in the content you produce. If you hate what you create, then your enthusiasm for that topic isn't going to shine through in that content. People will be able to tell, especially if you record video content. You'll be boring in the way you talk, and in turn that will just make your content uninteresting. Whereas if you love something, that enthusiasm is going to come through. People are going to watch that or read that content and go, this person's passionate. This person loves what they talk about. And that helps build trust as well. Somebody's not going to trust someone when they know they hate what they're actually talking about in the first place. Whereas if you look at someone who loves what they do, even though they may not be the best at it, you can look at that person and trust that they will handle what you give them to do far better than someone else. Because you'd rather have the person that's going to give their all rather than the person that may be slightly better but may give up around the corner because they don't actually love it in the first place. So having that love for what you do is also going to help you show up every single day. Think about it this way. If you're on social media and you're having to engage consistently for hours a day to help boost the growth of your account and get known within the industry, then if you don't actually enjoy what you're talking about, you're going to hate engaging and talking about it with other people. Whereas if you love what you talk about, engagement's going to be incredibly easy for you, because it's just going to be like talking to a friend about a topic you enjoy talking about anyway. It's going to be like talking about what you did on the weekend or the football scores. It's really that simple. So think about it that way. If you love what you do, you will stay consistent, because you will look forward to doing it every single day. And that's one of the reasons why I think I've kept up this podcast and why I haven't missed a single day with posting on Instagram, because I look forward to that every single week. I look forward to content creation. I look forward to posting it and sharing it with you guys. And that love, that energy for that helps keep me motivated to do it every single day. So tip number 1, make sure you love what you're doing. It really helps. Number 2, I have a strict content creation strategy. I don't wake up every morning, panic and go, what piece of content am I going to produce for that day? Or I don't wake up on a Monday, Wednesday and Friday, my podcast posting days, and go, crap, I need to record a podcast episode to post today. I create in advance. I'm ready, I'm prepared, so that I'm never rushing. Because when you rush to create content, that also shines through. Your content can look rushed and it can look unprofessional, and therefore it's going to have less value. But if you've taken your time with it and you've been organized and you've given yourself the time you need to perfect that piece of content, then you're always going to make sure that each piece of content you post is of a high quality. So I personally create all of my content on the weekend. I create all of my Instagram content on a Saturday. I sit down in the morning. I get that some of you might want the weekends to relax. Fine, pick a day in the week to do this. It doesn't take you all day. It takes me 3 hours to produce 7 Instagram posts max. I've now streamlined my content creation strategy that much that I can whack out a whole week's worth of content in 3 hours. So I can just sit down on a Saturday morning or a Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, whenever I want to do it, and I do it all. And I don't stop until it's done. That's what I do on a Saturday. Then on a Sunday, I'm recording this podcast now. On a Sunday, I will record all 3 podcast episodes for the week. That way, when I actually come to posting my pieces of content, they are all ready. I have a piece of content to post every single day on schedule, no matter what. And that is down to my strict content creation strategy. If you don't have a content creation strategy at the moment, have one, get one, make one. Because all the time you're rushing on the day of posting to create your content, it's going to lack quality. Simple as that. So get organized. Think about how you're going to create your content so that you can give the content the time it needs to be of a high quality. Point number 3. Do not dwell on the vanity metrics. The majority of people will stop their Instagram posting schedule or stop a podcast because they focus on how many plays they're getting, how many followers they've got, how many likes they're receiving. When you first create an account or a podcast, you're gonna have a very small number of people consuming your content. You've only just started. What do you expect? You can't expect to have 100,000 followers overnight or even 1,000 followers overnight. You've got to put in the work. But every single day you do put in the work, that compounds. You may not see what's happening in the background, but something's happening, I promise you. Your follower count may not have increased by 20 that day, but every single piece of engagement you left that day was a piece of self-promotion for you. Or it got you known by another creator that might then come and follow you in the future if you then engage with them again. You're planting the seeds. Every single day, every time you're consistent, every time you create a piece of content, every time you engage, you are planting seeds. And then those seeds in the long term, they eventually grow. So stop focusing on the vanity metrics in the short term. Otherwise, you are going to become incredibly, incredibly demotivated because nothing's going to happen quickly. That's life. That's business. All things worthwhile in life take time, patience, and hard work. So if you're not doing those 3 things, then you can't expect things to happen. So don't look at the vanity metrics in the short term because you will stop. You will not stay consistent because you'll look at those and go, oh, all this hard work I'm putting in, it's just not worth it. But you never know. It could have been that next day that you got that viral piece of content, but you stopped the day before. So just make sure every single day you carry on. They say on average that it takes 66 days to form a habit, I believe. Don't quote me on that. You can Google it for yourself, but I believe it's 66 days. And when I first started, content creation was really hard for me. I didn't have that content strategy in place. I didn't understand all of these things about consistency, and it was difficult, but I did keep going. I didn't look at the vanity metrics. I knew that long term, if I carried on, they'd come. It could have been a year, it could have been 2 years, could have been 3, it could have been 10 years, I don't know. But I didn't focus on them because I knew one day it would happen as long as I stayed consistent, put in the work, improve my content, improve myself. And you need to do the same. Because when you get past those 66 days, it will just end up becoming a habit. For example, my whole content creation strategy is habit now. I post at the same time every day. I know when I need to create content. I know how to keep all of my ideas flowing. I know what I'm doing when it comes to content creation, but it wasn't like that at first. It really was quite difficult. So just make sure you stick it out, because eventually, as you practice, things get easier and easier and easier. When you first start, it will take you forever to create a piece of content, and it may not look great. But as you continue to practice, things will get quicker and a hell of a lot better. I leave all of my content up on my Instagram page just as a journey to myself, and anyone that visits my page, they can see what my content used to be like when I first started. My content was horrendous. It's awful. I'll probably still look back at my content in a year's time and go, what I'm producing now is really, really bad. But in comparison to what I was producing originally, it's pretty good, I believe. But in comparison to what I'm going to produce in the future, it's going to be awful. It's all relative to the position you're in, but the more you practice, the quicker you're going to become, the better you're going to come. So just keep going, because it will eventually all fall into place. Now, the final thing I want to mention is that you make sure you keep a bank of your content ideas. When I first started, again, I wasn't doing this, and I was sort of getting to the content creation process and forgetting about all of the things I wanted to create content on. I would spend far too much time thinking about the content I was going to create that week, even though I'd had ideas in the week, I'd just forgotten them. So have a resource where you can just keep note of all your content ideas. You could use a paid platform such as Trello, or you could use a free platform such as Notes in your phone, or a classic pen and paper. Just make sure you've got somewhere that every time you come up with a content idea, you are writing it down. Because then at the end of every week, if you do batch content creation like I do, you can sit down, filter through all of those notes you've made with regards to your ideas, and just pick out the 7 best for that week. You're not sitting there for hours thinking about what I'm going to post. You're going, right, that's good, that's good, that's good, that's good, that's good. That's what I've got to create content on. Let's go. Simple as that. Again, you're streamlining. You're streamlining everything you need to do, so it takes you less time, so that you can then focus on monetary producing tasks. Outreach, customer relations, all of these different things you want to focus on, because they're the things that produce you money. Content produces you attention, which could eventually lead to money, but you shouldn't spend far too much time on it. Spend as little time on it as you can as possible, but still actually produce high quality content. And that's done by just streamlining the process. Content ideas being one of them. So trust me, you will thank yourself if you note down every single content idea you have in your notes on a piece of pen and paper, because when you come to create your content, it'll be, that's what I'm going to create. Let's create it. Done. Simple as that. And that wraps up my tips for staying consistent. And that was episode 100 of the Social Media Marketing School podcast. Wow. That's a lot of podcast episodes. If you did enjoy today's video, I would really appreciate if you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and turned on post notifications. But I did just want to mention that this is a part of my podcast series, Social Media Marketing School, and the audio version of the podcast is the place to be, because I release this content a little bit sooner over there than I do here on YouTube. So if you want to consume this content sooner, I will leave some links in the description below. Make sure you are heading down there and subscribing. But if you've got any questions with regards to anything I have mentioned, please just reach out to me on Instagram at @themarketingethan. Send me a DM and I'll make sure I get back to you no matter what. But I did just want to finish off by saying, if you have made it to this point in the episode, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.